Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram. I salute Bhagwan Shankaracharya, the abode of compassion, the repository of the Shrutis and Smritis and Puranas, and who is the world's benefactor. The 11th verse, those who are following it, the text. The gross body, take it as the physical body, the medium through which the soul experiences pleasure and pain, is determined by past actions and formed out of the 5 great subtle elements which become gross, read physical, when 1/2 portion of one subtle element becomes united with 1/8 of each other, of the other 4. Now, there are a couple of things here. We'll take the first part of the verse. The physical body. It's a medium, obviously, through which we experience pleasure and pain. There's only 2 things in the world. Yeah. But the world is made of so many things. It's a plethora of objects. But this is the primeval pleasure and pain. Everything boils down to this. At the background of all experiences is pleasure and pain. And that pleasure either draws us towards it, pain repels us. So when you only pleasure and pain and its derivatives also, joy and sorrow and love and hate and good and bad and all classed amongst these, pleasure and pain. Now, when we talk about the soul is experiencing the objects, we are not talking about objects. Our experiences are there to educate us. But like some children who don't want to study, or you can study, we commit those same mistakes over and over again. And the nature of a soul's evolution is, until and unless you've learned these lessons, you can't move on. Sometimes you're saying, oh, this is left unfinished business. Oh, just move on. There's no moving on. Here, you have to experience it. Now, we see there are some people who experience more pain and some less pain, and some more pleasure and less pleasure. Not all the time. In the morning, it's more pleasure, and then by evening, it's more pain. Today, it's more pleasure, and tomorrow, there's more pain. And depends on what friends you have. Some give you pain and some give you pleasure. So it depends on time and place and circumstances. You have this pleasure and pain, this business. It's a mighty business. These are the 2 things that tie us up, amazingly. What is the necessity of mentioning all these? These are understood by everybody. Every saint and every sinner, from every saint to every sinner, they know this. In a way, we know, but we cannot act on it. You know all this. Life, half the people say it's so nice, beautiful. How beautiful is this? And some people say, what? Can't you see the pain, the suffering in life? And then they switch sides also then. So, what is the determining factor here? As I said, is determined by past actions. Your past actions, say, your karma. Past actions, yeah. You thought some things in your life and they fructify and become consolidated over and over. It becomes thicker and thicker, and then they... Swami Vivekananda gives an example. See, we hear a wave crash on the shore, but we don't realize that the wave is made of millions and millions of smaller waves. You have set it in motion. You do not know. Oh, I did not know. Well, now you know when it comes, waves come crashing. So past actions. Now, where does this past actions, from where do they come? They come from you. And because they come from you, they go back to you. If I do some things, he is not going to get the results of it. He may, a little, but we have to experience the consequences of our own past actions. And sometimes we can speak about it as it's an interminable, long series of thoughts and actions and thoughts. See, these thoughts are rising up in us. But we don't realize, and of course we do realize, that they arise also from memory. So every thought becomes a memory. So those memories are called impressions. And when these impressions becomes layered all over the years, they become part of our nature. So you are oriented because of your old memories. Not old memories, oxymoron. It's memory. So these memories are in the subtle body. And the subtle body fructifies these things, and the physical body experiences them as pleasure or pain. So it's just, and in Vedanta you can say, life is a series of events. We are carrying a long, heavy load on us that has been brought by us. Even if you don't take that into account, just forget it. Even in this life. Yeah. So Vedanta gives the idea that personal responsibility. You are responsible for it. Not this and not that. So the author, Shankaracharya, is saying, so to recap, pleasure and pain is experienced in this physical body because of a karma. It's called karma sanchitam in the word. We'll read this later. Okay, this karma sanchitam. But then what happens is karma, these memories, where do they float about in the in mid-air? No, it has to have a kind of a material. They are material. The memories are material, and they have to have a kind of another kind of a cushion or kind of a foundation. And here there is a doctrine of the 5, you can say, the quintuplication is formed out of the 5 great subtle elements. What 5? Why 5? Yeah, let's take it up as like 5 now. They are great because they are all pervasive. And they are very subtle. Subtle in the sense they cannot be right now sensed with these sense organs. Only when they become mixed and matched and combined and recombined, then we get this gross objects, the physical world. Okay, so something subtle combines and recombines and becomes. It's like this air here, nice air. If you go out there and then suddenly that air, this nice, beautiful air full of pollen, starts sneezing, and then suddenly it becomes so destructive. It uproots trees and houses and takes all these things and boom. So that nice air has become what? Like a solid wall. It's blasting to things. Okay. So this nice earth, solid earth, becomes like water. Certain things. So things, when they are spoken of as subtle, sukshma, in certain conditions they become solid. So these subtle 5 great elements, space, air, fire, water, and earth. These are the 5. And they combine and recombine over and over again. We'll see the combination later. He's explained it, but and he's also given it in the footnote there. So for anything which has become physical when 1/2 of the one subtle element becomes united with 1/8 of each of the other. Well, I'll read the Sanskrit, then I'll explain it a little, and then I'll re-explain it with the next, you can say, verse. Panchikrita mahabhuta sambhavam karma sanchitam shariram sukha dukkhanam bhogayatanam uchyate. This is, the bhoga is experience. It's an abode of experience. The physical body is the abode of experience of, as I said, pleasure and pain because of that karma sanchitam, the collection of karma. But you said memories. What is the karma? Memories are karma. One side is memories and the other side is karma. It is karma. Karma. Okay. So the word uses panchikrita, the quintuplication, the 5 mixtures. Of what 5? Yeah, we said space, air, fire, water, and earth. But nowadays science says, oh, you got that huge, you can say, table of all the elements. My God, huge. And what are these people talking about? The first element, the very first maximum quantity element, what was it? Suppose, like, till today the science is saying there was something called a quantum expansion. There was a quantum fluctuation and the expansion, and let's call it, they call it the Big Bang. So there was a Big Bang. And what happened? What are the material? Don't know what happened. But first there was hydrogen, and a little helium, and a little lithium, and a little beryllium. And what about this iron and gold? And no, all these things were not there. But yeah. Oh, they formed two of that quantum nucleosynthesis or something like that. So the heat, they started fusing, and now you get all these things. Wonderful. Yeah. So there's all these different elements are nothing but a combination of, or the recombination of all these, the initial element, hydrogen, the father element, because it's the simplest. And everything has become. So when these guys say, oh, there was first space and then fire, yeah. What happens is, all the five do not come together. First space comes. When the space is expanding and then space vibrates. They used to say, oh, space vibrates. These guys, Vedantins, they did not understand all these things. And now they're talking about space as having ripples and having expanding and all these things. Oh, thank God. You're voicing the findings of all these sages. So it expands. That is, expands. What is there's a heat generated because the expansion, and then that heat, the vibrations become denser. It becomes air, and the vibrations become more denser. It becomes fire, and then becomes more denser, becomes more rapid. It cools water, and it condenses earth. There it is. And nowadays, all this new agey, they talk about vibrations, energies, and this and that. Yeah, sure, okay. There's vibrations and energy. So there was the original vibration. So this is this. So each one comes as an evolution. And this is an old, you can say, concept in Vedanta. All these things have evolved from that. From the hydrogen or from space, whatever you like to call it. So these five great elements that I've enumerated. Think of them as 5 pies. You got 5 pies. And each pie is space, air, fire, water, and earth. So he's saying when 1/2 portion of one subtle element, so divided into 2 halves. 1/2 is kept for you. Okay. And then the other half divided into 4 parts. You can do it, half, quarter. Now, space, okay. Do the same thing with all the elements. And you think, hey, let's see, what do you taste like? This guy has got this pie. Let's taste each other. Let's see what we are like. So each of the other 4 quarter pies are sent to that space, and space gives off its 4. And slowly each gives one portion of its quarter here, and then you get space with the qualities of all the other 4 elements. You get air with all the other qualities of other 4 elements, and etc., etc. So that one pure thing, it's only half now, but it has been mixed. This is what happens. So you get the idea. Pies. Remember, whenever you say Panchakrita, the 5 mixture, Krita is to do. Know that all the other 4 elements along with space, they. So that's why the footnote also says the quality of space is sound. Om, that's a primeval sound. And this can be heard by the yogis in its pure form. Then air. Now, because air has a mixture of space also. So then air, it's a sense of touch. Air touches you. And there's also movement. So space is there. Sound is there. And the next is fire. It has sound and then touch and also sight. And then water, then it has sound and touch and taste and movement also. And then the earth, yeah, same. Additionally, smell, taste, touch, sight, and movement. So, and we have exactly the 5 indriyas, the 5 sense organs. They grasp these 5 great elements. So that's why they say the 5 great elements, because we have 5. Yeah, nowadays science says, okay, but there are the vestibular sense and then all these kind of, all the pressure and this and that. But these are internal in the body. We don't have a 6th sense, but people say, we have a 6th sense. No, you cannot have a 6th sense, please. Why? Because the universe is not designed for like that. The universe is designed with your 5 senses to experience the 5 sensations from the 5 elements. So there has to be a match here. There cannot be a mismatch. So you see how they combine the external world and the internal world perfectly. Okay. So much for this verse. Okay. Why is this coming about? I mean, one of the concepts of Vedanta is we have 3 bodies. The physical body, the subtle body, which is the real you, not this, the subtle body. And then there's the causal body. The cause of, why cause is the cause of this. The cause of the subtle body, and the subtle body is the cause of the physical body. We have 3 bodies, 3 layers. So this is one concept in Advaita Vedanta, in Vedanta, not Advaita Vedanta. Okay. So he brings it another concept called something that limits you. Because you and me also, we have to discern between what is real and the unreal. This is the, you can say, essential practice of Vedanta. So you have to know at least intellectually what is real and what is unreal. That's why all these fine analysis. So here there's a concept called the limiting adjuncts, or something which limits things. It's called upadhi, and this is one of the concepts, like delimitations, a concept. Space is limited, as it were, by these walls and these rooms and etc. Its space is one. This space inside is the same as that space and the same outside, but it appears divided. It's called a delimitation. Then reflection. So one thing is reflected in millions and millions of mirrors, and we think there's the millions of suns. No. So then there's a concept of superimposition. That is, we superimpose one thing on another. That is another concept of, we have dealt with this in the last 10 verses. Now this concept, which Vedanta also is called, it's a limiting adjunct. It's called upadhi. Upadhi. What is upadhi? Well, it has various meanings. It is an attribute. It is a quality. It is something that limits. That's a better way. Something that constrains you. That's a better way. It may not be part of the nature of that soul, but given something that comes near it, the soul's powers, as it were, is limited by it. So Shri Ramakrishna says, the jiva is nothing but the embodiment of Satchidananda, existence, consciousness, bliss. But since Maya or ego has created various upadhis, limiting adjuncts, that soul has forgotten its real nature. Oh yeah, we can see something that comes and limits the unlimited. And that limiting adjunct takes on the power of its own. It doesn't have a power. Then he says, these limiting adjuncts, Sri Ramakrishna's upadhis, change people's natures. Like he's giving he likes to bring philosophy down. Money is a great upadhi. You give somebody your royal highness, see what happens. You say somebody is so and so, Mr. This is PhD, this is, see what happens. That itself is going to limit you. People are going to look at, oh, he's a PhD. That person, he gets scolded at home by his wife. People outside a PhD. What is this? So Sri Ramakrishna, in the last class I had mentioned this, like even a sickly person, who if he puts on those high boots, the British officers used to put, he will start whistling like the British officers and climbing stairs 2 at a time. So another example he has given. So if a person starts wearing a black bordered cloth, the dhotis, that was like fashionable for those Babu's gentlemen. Then he will whistle Nidu Babu's, there's one composer, love songs. And then he's saying a walking stick will follow. Everywhere you find, then Sri Ramakrishna says, so a frog found a coin. In India, it's a rupee. And then God is very happy. There was an elephant walking on top. And the frog goes to kick it. What? You don't know? I've got a rupee here. How dare you walk over me? Over my dwelling place. So this is the power of money. So not only money. So in philosophical terms, what limits the unlimited? Time, this space and all the other materials, and the causation, and everything. So it's like the sun is shining and suddenly we're saying, oh my God, we have a solar eclipse and everybody is so charged. Let's see a solar eclipse. What? Oh, the moon will transit and we will not be able to see the sun. So this whole concept of the sun and the moon and all, they're going in their own way. And now and then they interact at a great distance. They don't interact, but for us they interact. The sun and the moon and oh my God, look at this partial. And yeah, you could go, people running towards those places where they can see. This is somehow something comes and covers the soul. That's called upadhi. It limits the whole thing. So if you're told you're weak, you're useless, you're small, you're just an old, used rag that needs to be thrown out, keep on telling that person over and over, that person is going to believe it. That's why Sri Ramakrishna said, if you keep on thinking that I'm a sinner, you'll become a sinner. So the power of upadhi, the power of limitations can be used to break those very limitations. If you keep on thinking, I'm a child of God, I'm a servant of God, I'm infinite, I am whole, I'm pure, I'm perfect, then you start becoming that. That's why all this whole, this is a concept because it's an important concept. The people say, how can the infinite becomes the finite? No, it doesn't become the finite. It appears to be because of something that has come near, the proximity. It's a, as I say, the magicians say the art of misdirection. And they will say, look, and then they will distract you and they show you something else. Right under your nose. And oh my God. For that moment, you had been fooled. So they know the tricks, how perception works, etc., how attention works. Now we can understand this 12th verse, because the physical body is one aspect of that limiting adjunct. Another is the subtle body, and the next verse will show the causal body, its composition, etc. The subtle body, 12, the instrument of the soul's experience, yes, it is the instrument. Suppose I want to dig a hole, I need a spade. I can use my hands, but by the time I finish digging the hole, it depends on the hole. I'm not talking about a small hole, I'm talking a big hole. Your hand will start bleeding, etc., and all that. Your bones will break, and so you look around. What can I do? Oh, yeah, I got a spade here. Now my experience of the digging a hole is much better. The subtle body is the instrument of the soul. After it has is overpowered by that limiting adjunct, then the subtle body becomes. Take this, like Swami Vivekananda says, nature comes and whips us and we cry. And then she gives us the gingerbread and we laugh. So it's like, so the subtle body, remember, the subtle body is, as I said, it's subtle. It's made of those same 5 great elements which have not become so combined and recombined to make it gross. So it's a subtle element. They have become mixed with each other, as I had mentioned. The instrument of the soul's experience. So because the physical body is the seat of experience, bhoga ayatanam, the seat. This is the instrument of the experience is the subtle body. Okay. Consists of the now here it is, this subtle body. Where is it? It is there, it is you. But I don't know myself, that's a problem. And in Vedanta, that's what they're trying to tell you, what exactly you are, on what layer. The people they're so nice. You scratch them a little and see what happens then. Then we know what happens. Okay. So scratch the physical body and then we'll get the subtle body. And okay, now what is subtle body made of? The 5 pranas, the 5 vital forces, the 10 organs, 5 sense organs and 5 motor organs. And then manas and buddhi, mind and intellect. Now, this book gives mind and intellect, and generally the commentators will say mind, intellect, ego and memory. Okay. So the ego and the intellect is clubbed together. Mind and memory is clubbed together. Okay. So there are four these are the internal. They are more inside. So a little external is the organs, the 5 sense organs, sensory and motor organs. Okay. And a little external to that are the vital forces. So though it is one body, one unit, it has different layers. That's why the 4 inside Antakaran. This is the instrument. So how much we have? 19 parts. According to this, 17 parts. 10 sense organs and motor organs. 5 pranas that we have. Okay, 15. And then the 4 or this 2, whatever, 17. 17 parts. And this subtle body has, again, as like the previous verse has said, has karma, all the memories, and it's nicely technicolored inside. You cannot see it, of course, but the karmas, according to the quality, some karmas which are compassionate and unselfish and all these things, they have become nice and pure and translucent. There are some karmas which are hate and anger and rage, and they have different colors. Red, black, and grey, all these. So different colors. So we won't go too deep because, like I said, nowadays everybody talks about auras and where do they come from? They come from these colors of your karma, all the karma colors. All formed from the rudimentary elements, that is, before their subdivisions and combinations with one another. So, before they are in their pure state, in the rudimentary state, in the subtle state. The word used is tanmatras. Okay, just remember that. Will come handy later as we proceed. So, the Sanskrit is Pancha prana mano buddhi dashendriya samanvitam apanchikrita bhutotham sukshmangam bhoga sadhanam. So there was a bhoga ayatanam, this is bhoga sadhanam, means. So this is where exactly? If this is the cause, this is the effect of the seat of experiences, then the cause also has to be here only. You cannot say the cause is there and the effect is there. In the last time I talked about, the world is here, the effect, God's will, but God is somewhere there. No, God has to be what here. How do we put together? The cause and effect is the same. Last time I had given an example. You cannot say the clay is there and the pot is there. It has to be together. So God also and the earth. So the subtle body and the physical body has to be here only. So I can see the physical body. Yes, now I can infer that it has to be here. This is the cause. So these 19 components are there within you. But I cannot see them. Yeah, you can see them if you practice yoga. There are some who are born who can see. The only thing is like now, we are all actually subtle bodies. All of us wearing different clothes. Yeah. Everybody, yes, everybody and everything are subtle bodies wearing different clothes. That's all. That's what the Bhagavad Gita says. Like a person discards worn out garments and puts new ones, so does this take on new garments after discarding the old. So we are all we think we are all, we are part of the great humanity and great, how great humans are. We are doing this, we are doing that. You are subtle body. That's a better way. Humanity is too much of humanity. Then that's another division we make. We isolate ourselves from the rest of creation. So if you have a subtle body and everything is subtle body, then you are one with all the creations. So this world is a subtle world. So this is what is called the physical body, sthula, sukshma, subtle body, and we will take it in the next class, next Friday, the causal body, along with this explanation, because you might tend to forget what we did last, that is today, last time. Oh, you forgot. So Vedanta always does that, starts recapping things. So over and over, so it kind of hits you. Okay, and it's not lost. Only when you start really practicing Vedanta, then these concepts come to you. Right now you don't need, because you're so much engrossed in this pleasure and pain business, you have forgotten everything. Now you know what's the upadhi, limiting adjunct. We stop here for, if there are questions here, I don't think so. But before we do, tomorrow at Topovan, at a retreat center at Arlington, we have Karma Yoga from 10 to 4 p.m. Get your sack lunch, etc. and the weather looks good. Outdoors clothes, heavy boots, etc. Sunday, 11 a.m. I said 11, not 10 a.m. 10 a.m. is usually a lecture given here, Sunday talk. So there will be no Sunday talk at 10 a.m. At 11 a.m. we have an annual general meeting which is open only for members. I mean, there will be a sign-up sheet, so you cannot muck in. You cannot slip in. So it's only for members. All the members are expected to attend this. And we decided to have it here at Seattle because it's inconvenient for many people to go to Arlington. And it is, of course, potluck. Bring your food, and we have a big pot. No questions here, so we can stop here for today. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna